Eugene Segovia here with EZStudRack.com. I shot a video earlier on a shipping container showing how you can actually install EZStudRacks, one row deep storage, take advantage of the wall, entire wall. If you want to see that video, click right here and you can see that video. I thought that I could just sit here and easily measure these things and get them exactly the same distance on each shelf, but that didn't work out, so it kind of bothered me, and put a little thought to it, and I was able to get this template cut. Stop letting clutter stress you out. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget that little bell icon so you don't miss out on ways to get organized and stay organized. Click on the link down here and you can download this template, print it out. I just used some scissors, cut it out, and then I fit it right here on this little rib. So as you can see here, there's still a little room for misalignment, but it kind of fits it nice and tight. So all I do is come up here, get it pretty centered, and then I mark it one like that, and then a line like that. Why do you always put two marks like that? Well, I learned that it's very hard to just make one little center line like that. This way you just... Now what I did notice is when it comes to this little seam right here, anytime there's a distance between this seam and where I want to put a stud, when I mark it, center, and I measure it, it's always maybe a 1/16 difference. So what I'm doing is I'm measuring from the center of this rib to the center of this rib to kind of get an idea of what size board I need to cut. I always start at the 10 because it's easier to put my tape measure right on the mark, the 10. Then I measure to the next one, and on the tape measure it actually says 31 and a little over 7/8, but really I got to subtract 10 inches. So it's 21 and 7/8. So I go to the next one, and remember how I said where that little seam weld is? I'll measure, start at the 10-inch mark to this next one, and it's measuring 21 and 15/16. So between 21 and 7/8 and 21 and 15/16. So I'm just going to meet in the middle. So we went ahead and measured using our guide, template, whatever you want to call it. I marked the center of each rib. Now my next step is I got to make sure that I put my stud on that line. Now imagine a big long board like this. Trying to figure out where the center of that thing is, it's never going to happen. So what I'm doing is I got another little guide. I just grabbed a 2x4, little piece. I'll mark the center. See if you can see that. If you look at the dimensions, I got 1.5. That's the distance, the width of a 2x4. And half of that is 3/4 of an inch. So that is the center. One little trick that I want to point out is when you get a 2x4, the edges a lot of times are rounded. So when you try to mark your mark, it's not exactly at the very edge of the board. So I cut a 2x4 like this. And then I just sliced the edge of it. That way, see the edge is sharp versus the original, it's rounded. So when I try to mark it with the pencil, it might not necessarily be on the exact edge, but when I cut it with the saw, see how sharp it is? When I mark it with that pencil, it's going to be exactly on that edge. So all I'm doing now is I am putting my little piece of 2x4 right on that little, whatchamacallit. I just run my pencil on each side. Now when it comes time to put my long board in, I at least know and get it pretty close to where that edge is going to be, and then I'll get somebody to hold it while it's screwed in, or as you'll see on that video, I'll use that, what they call third arm, third hand, something like that. So I'm just repeating the same thing on each one. So I just line up my little arrows like that. Mark it. Hey, another little trick that I learned when I was taking drafting class, when you're marking with the pencil, as you're marking, I rotate it like this. That way it tries to maintain that sharp edge. If you don't rotate it, it's just going to create a flat spot on it. Quick, 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 quick. You saw how I downloaded the template, cut it, mark the center, and double check everything. Cut your 2x4, mark it. 2x4, mark it. And then I allotted 1/8 for the EZStudRack. Cut your 2x4 at 80 inches. Once you attach your EZStudRacks, when you put your first board up, we've already outlined the edge. I already have a mark there where your 2x4 edge is gonna line up. The next step is to attach your EZStudRacks to this. I just kind of hold it in there. I have the EZStudRacks here. Line up the arrow and I mark the edge where the EZStudRack's gonna be. And I'll do that in several spots. That way when I line up this big long board, I have an idea of where that edge is gonna be with the EZStudRack already attached. I put the stud up, I get that little arm, and then I go to the outside and screw it in. I would cut 3 shelves, 1, 2, 3, at 20 and 3/16. I would put my first stud up. You mark your center, mark your 2x4, go ahead and put an EZStudRack on one side, like this. Put it up on there and mark where that edge is gonna be. Attach it, use your third arm, and that lines up your first row. Take your shelf that's 20 and 3/16, attach it, come up with your second one, and then use that as your guide. Screw it in, go to the next one. So use those same 3 shelves and you should be fine. Try that out, comment below, let me know if that works. So don't forget to subscribe so you can watch other videos that I'm gonna do on how to get organized and stay organized, the 1-row deep storage concept, take advantage of the entire wall. Whatever you're doing, whether it's your garage, whether it's your pantry, whether it's a wall, it's just hidden storage, whatever it is, you can take advantage of that area between your studs and on your wall. Until next time, this is Eugene with EZStudRack.com. See you later.